Hello. I am Branden Harvey, and this is Sounds Good. This is the weekly podcast where we have conversations with inspiring people who are rejecting cynicism and using their lives to make an impact. This week, we are celebrating 3 years of making Sounds Good. We have officially entered our 4th year of making this podcast, and I just want to talk about that. I want to share an exciting personal update, and I want to give you a peek of what is ahead for us. I'll start off with a personal update and just say that you may have noticed that we took the last few weeks off the podcast. And that's because I have been moving. I moved from wonderful Nashville, Tennessee, which I loved so much, to Portland, Oregon with my brilliant wife, Sammy, and our cute puppy, Pop-Tart. And I'll tell you the truth, I was planning on recording an episode or two, perhaps even this very episode, from the moving truck. I thought it'd be kind of fun to be, sitting in the back of a moving truck, surrounded by literally my entire life, and and be recording a podcast. And it just didn't happen. It was so busy, it was cold, and so instead I'm recording from my new office in downtown Portland, Oregon, and it feels so good to be settling into this new city. I think for Sammy and I, we love Nashville so much, but I think that we wanted the opportunity to experience a new city together. We've always dreamed of living in Portland together, and it just felt like a great time for us to do that. And so we're here. We're just showing up. It's an adventure. It's an experience. I feel like I'm already soaking in the inspiration that comes from being surrounded by some of my closest friends in the world, who are doing good in the world. And also, I feel like I've been getting to line up a bunch of meetings and conversations and time with people who are doing good in the world. And there's something about the city that just really draws in people who are passionate and care about doing something with their lives. And so it feels like a great spot to be for me right now. We're still printing the Good newspaper in Nashville. I'll still be back in Nashville pretty often. I happen to live in Portland now. And so I'm excited for the new adventures that will come with that. On a podcast related note, oh my goodness, during our move, during the last few weeks, we celebrated our 3rd year of the podcast. That means that we are officially in our 4th year of making the show, and we hit 150 episodes. That means we did 50 episodes a year for 3 years. It's wild. Honestly, when I think about that, the podcast is my longest relationship outside of my relationship with my wife. Honestly, I think I am a fairly non-committal person, or historically I have been in a more unhealthy state. And I think that the podcast was wild because that first year I signed a contract that said that I have to make 50 episodes in a year. And to tell you the truth, I had about 10 of them brainstormed out. I knew that I had 10 people on my list that I wanted to have a conversation with, and I just didn't know what we would do after that. I was hopeful that there would be more inspiring people who are doing good in the world that I could find after that, but my list started with about 10 people, and I've been blown away that we've been able to tell so many stories of people doing good in the world. And think back about that first episode, or those first few episodes. I remember that I shared that I wanted this podcast to always be a place that celebrates those in the trenches doing good. And I asked y'all to encourage our guests and lift them up online, to encourage them, because it's hard to put yourself out there. And some of our guests have been so incredibly vulnerable. And when I think about the last few years, I think about how all of the amazing things we've done would not be possible without your support. The most concrete way I can see that is that you, the listeners, have followed and encouraged and donated and supported our incredible guests, and they in turn have felt loved and known, and they felt like this was a safe space for them to share some of their most vulnerable, difficult moments. And I think that it's out of those most vulnerable moments that we can learn, because we always relate more to each other's heartbreak than our successes, and we learn more from our failures than the things that we put up on our mantle, the trophy moments. And I think it's incredible that You created a space where guests felt comfortable opening up and being real, because I think that we all benefited from that. And then in turn, so many of our guests then told other friends of theirs who are doing beautiful things in the world that this was a place that they could feel supported and known. So they in turn, recommended that their friends join the show. And that's where we've gotten some of our most incredible guests today. And that's all because of you, the listener. And on top of that, you've shared about the show. You've shared it with your community. You've downloaded it every week. You have made it what it is today. And through the process, you've made me better. I remember when I started working on this podcast back in 2015, I had one idea in mind. I was looking around the world, a world full of heartbreak and pain and fear. And I was just seeing this unique group of people who were overcoming all of that. Despite the pain, they weren't being overcome with apathy or with cynicism. Instead, they were using their lives to make a difference. And they were inspiring me, and I wanted to learn how to be more like them. And I just couldn't fully wrap my mind around what it was they were doing. And so I wanted to create this space to celebrate those people, to spread their sense of hope, and to learn from them. And I feel like over the last few years, we've collectively followed our curiosities, and we've learned what it means to reject cynicism and use our lives to make a difference. We've learned what it means to hold both joy and sorrow at the same time. That's been, I think, my biggest learning moment from this. And we've learned how to overcome the struggles that inherently come with trying to create solutions to the world's biggest problems, both in little ways and in big ways. We've been collectively inspired by those that have come before us, and I've seen so many people in this community take steps to join the journey of doing good in the world. It gets me so energized just thinking about it, emotional just thinking about it. I'm blown away. Maybe speechless is the right word. I don't know if I'm allowed to be speechless on a podcast. But I'll say that, we've been doing this thing for 3 years, and it's been so beautiful. And I've been just brainstorming over the last maybe 6 months, 9 months, about how we can continue to follow our curiosity as we enter into this 4th year, and maybe even turn up the dial of impact we're making to another notch. How can we make even more of a difference in the world? How can we grow even more than we've grown in the last 3 years? And so I want to tell y'all that we're working on something super special and exciting. We've got a plan in mind. We're chasing after it. And it's been energizing for us. It's been exciting for us. And what we need is a little bit of time to bring this to life. And so we're taking a little bit of time off the show, off of sharing new episodes of the show, I should say, so that we can spend time in the studio building something that we know that you're going to love. And so over the next few weeks, you'll be hearing a few of our favorite older episodes as we reshare them. I'll be recording some new intros for them, kind of giving a little bit of context to things that have maybe changed and grown over time. And so I hope that you get the opportunity to find a few episodes that you missed, and that you get the chance to listen to a few old favorite episodes that maybe inspired you in the past, but you need to revisit it. And I don't know. I love revisiting old things that were helpful or interesting to me, and seeing kind of how I've grown. What new nuggets of information stand out to me now that didn't stand out to me before, and which ones I feel like, oh, wow, I really did learn from that. That was a key moment for me. And so I hope that these are helpful for you and interesting for you. And of course, over the next few weeks, in the meantime, as always, you can follow me online on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else at Branden Harvey. That's Branden with an E-N. And you can also follow Good 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 at GoodGoodGoodCo. And of course, you can pick up the Good Newspaper at goodnewspaper.co, and you can subscribe to our Good Newsletter at goodnewsletter.co, both of which are filled with so much good news and hope and celebration of the good in the world, which is what we're all about here. And so, to wrap up, we've been doing this thing for 3 years. It's so exciting. I'm so proud of and grateful for this community. It's been such an incredible experience. I have moved to a new city, but I have not moved on from this show. We're going to create something beautiful together, and I'm so excited to do it with you. Thank you for making Sounds Good what it is. Thank you for joining me on this journey of curiosity and hope. I cannot wait for what's ahead of us together. And on that note, that is a wrap for this week's episode and a wrap for the end of our 3rd year. Go out and do some good, and we will be back soon. Sound good?